go. You should be able to see us now. If you can't see us or hear us, please tell us. We're trying to get this working. Hi, my name is Eric, or Katten. I'm community manager, and I'm joined by Thomas, design lead / manager, who will be joining me and talking about raids.
Yes.
Yes. Great you can hear us. First, very simple question. What is raids? This might be a good question.
Raids is a new feature. It's about trying to strike specific targets with small units and cause strategic effect with that.
Yeah. So, for example, the Bosnia Dam, or maybe destroying the Statue of Liberty.
Exactly, those kind of things. Trying to bomb a specific facility developing rockets or something like that.
Yeah, which can slow down their process. Could do with turning Thomas' volume up a tad. I believe that is this one. There
Let's
we go.
See. That
Should
works.
be better now. Ooh.
Don't worry about it. You keep doing your thing.
Okay, I turned it up. Oh, even more. Okay. I already turned it up. Okay. Well, let us know if it's too high volume now. So right now in the background, you see we have the game. As I switch to, there we go. Now we have the game going. So here we have Germany going in the background. We're not playing this fast. We're not that cool, but we have a human AI in the background. As we are getting into 39 soon, where we can show you more of the cool raids happening, as it's around that time when the war kicks off. So it's usually something to explode.
I mean, in theory, you can do raids earlier, but or prepare them anyways, but most of them aren't really valid until the war starts.
So what's I guess while we're waiting, what are different types of raids you can do?
You can do Paratrooper raids against specific targets, like the Emmanuel Fortress, or against iron ore mines, where you can send paratroopers in and blow them up, or you can send them ahead of an invasion, trying to prepare better for your invading troops. And you can do various types of raids with aircraft. You can bomb dams, as mentioned. You can bomb secret facilities. You can bomb some locks in canals, like in the Kiel Canal. And also a number of specific ones for depending on who you are and what you're doing. Like the UK can send a bomber raid to bomb the German Reichstag, like roughly what they did in 39. 440, I mean, sorry.
But if you, let's say if you bomb a resource field, does that remove the resource completely?
So the idea is that it lowers the output for an extended period of time, rather than just destroying it outright, because that way you have a longer impact without sort of totally destroying your opponent's game.
Yeah, and is it more of a timer, like this is how many days, or is it that the person, like let's say we bomb Germany's one rare oil field, do they need to rebuild it in the construction queue, or is it that you have just a timer going?
For resources, it's just a timer. For anything that's a building, there will be a need to repair it, and you can also affect now how fast things can repair, so you can actually make it harder to repair, so that it will take some time to get it back on track.
Okay, I see we're also now in June, soon going into July, so
I think we can stop the game here, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna... Ooh. There is too fast. You can take control.
Whoa, where's the cursor? There.
There's the cursor. I think while you're looking around, I think something I've seen a little bit asking about on forums is, what is the difference between strategic bombing and raids?
I mean, strategic bombing affects all buildings or things, or buildings in a region, whereas a raid specifically hits a single target.
Yeah.
So that's the main difference. So the things you can affect with the strategic bombing, you can't generally affect with a raid, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So you can't hit like, you see here, Germany has a land warfare facility here. You can't hit that with strategic bombers if you're France, but you can try to hit it with a raid if you want to. Likewise, these dams cannot be hit by they cannot be damaged by strategic bombing.
Yeah, and I see we actually got a question there regarding if nukes are exclusive for raids. I mean,
sort of. You're using the raid system to deliver the nuclear attack.
Yeah.
So they kind of are. They're using the same targeting system or hit chance system. So instead of just clicking a state and going like, I want to nuke this thing, you actually will have to allocate bombers to do it.
Yeah. So I can't just pause the game, nuke every single province in existence and unpause and see a big boom.
No, you would have to actually set up those raids to do that and then click on the big red button to start all the nuclear attacks going.
That's a very good question also, like if raids are more successful if they're linked to spy network strength.
Yes, there's actually a connection there. So if you have more info on the target, you get a better success. And that is partly affected by spy network strength.
Yeah.
So yes, and by intel in general.
And I guess we can just jump in and start looking at find a fun raid.
Find a fun raid. First of all, we have to be at war with someone to do it. Or, I mean, we don't have to, but to execute it, we have to. So, we need transport planes. Or we can go to somewhere else. Let's go somewhere else.
Let's see a question there if some of the unique spy operations have been removed and replaced by raids. So, no, so the systems are separate. Having a higher intelligence network in a country helps you with raids against them. But other than that, the systems are still separate.
Do we have... Let's kill this. Sorry, UK. Oops, I wasn't supposed to do that. Ah, that was stupid. Let's build a new one. Ah.
Yeah, it's high sensitivity.
Extreme. This is not going well for me. Sorry, UK, we had to... I'm just cheating a bit here. So.
Yeah, it's a bit faster. I saw a question around if you flood the Dutch Netherlands with the raid system. So you know, like when you flood Netherlands, you can flood your own country.
Yeah.
I think the question is, can you flood your country involuntarily with raids?
I mean, not involuntarily. You have to aim for it. Basically.
Well, sure, you do have to aim for it, but you can flood them.
I can't see. What am I typing on?
Research. There we go.
I'm just going to make sure that I can actually bomb some stuff because it's fun, right? And then we go here.
Yes, fancy new tech icons everywhere.
Yes.
Can you nuke sea tiles to destroy Navy?
No.
No.
Sorry. You can't do that.
No.
So here we see we have... let's talk about this one. I have an incoming raid here.
Yeah, from Italy of all places.
And then... So basically... We can talk about that first because we didn't talk about that much in the dev diary. So you can see here in the tooltip that it's actually, in this case, it's pretty high chance that we can stop the raid. Mainly because Italy does not have air superiority over the UK. We already have anti-air and we have some interception missions already. So we've done what we can basically. And I guess that also their aircraft trying to do this raid aren't very good because...
They're Italian.
Yeah. And it's 39. So I think that's why. What do we need here? Now we have to be at war with Germany.
We'll be that soon enough, in about 2 months.
Yeah, or we can wait.
Yeah.
So that's what happens when you have an incoming. You also have like new alerts up here. Ignore that one.
Yeah, I see a few questions regarding like right commissars and dates. So right now we're focusing on talking about raids. Then later we're going to talk about Belgium. We did a stream last Friday when we talked about small features and German systems. So you can, if you can rewatch that, you'll find right commissars, or you can read the dev diary.
Here we have a few raids we can actually do right now. Let's pause. Or we can plan them. So here we have an air facility. They aren't doing anything. We have enough info to actually know that. And that's this thing I talked about earlier. Combination of air intel and other things that affect that.
Yeah.
They have a land facility here. So we can look at that. I mean, so the first thing you see, and let's close this one again. I hover over this one. I see that I'm here. Crosshairs turning. Click it. I then can select the unit. The units are in France or in the UK, or I can just check this list here. And here also you can see like what affects the chance for this specific unit. How does the unit affect the chance? And these are, as I said, pretty bad bombers at this stage. But let's pick something just for the fun of it. And then we have to say like, where do we want to start this one? Let's start here. So here we can see a breakdown of our chances. Right now they're very good. You can see the effect of target information down there. And we can just create it like that.
And here you can also see the risk taken area, like you can increase or lower your risk.
Yes, so you don't want the risk critical failure just go low, but then it also drops here.
Yeah.
And if you want to have it increase the shot, that's kind of weird, right? So let's not do that.
Yeah,
there's always a cap on. So basically what happens here, if you have such a high chance from the beginning,
it kind of lowers it because you're taking more risk than you should.
Yes, but normally it would increase the chance to succeed. So let's ignore that one for now.
And I see if you're question regarding if there's a Pearl Harbor raid specific.
No, there's not.
Yeah, I think most raids, they're very general, like this is something everyone can use.
Yeah, and also we try not to replicate what you can do with other types of missions or like strategic bombing or port strikes, stuff like that. So it's supposed to be something else. So if we just look at the raids map mode now. Yeah. So what's happening here is that, we probably have a problem here, right? Because is our plane getting to here yet? Not sure.
I think it wasn't if the raid mechanics a lot of air raids. No, so there's air raids, paratrooper raids, and nuclear raids. I believe that's all of them.
Oops.
I'm gonna borrow that one.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah. Give me a second. I'm gonna press here. We accidentally might have had our first trash during all of our streams. Will be looked into why it crashed, but right now we're gonna see if we can restart the game and see if we can get it back up running.
Yeah, we can cheat to get this to the point where
cheat where we want to get there again. Hot show, of course. You know, the game it's not done yet. We're still working on it, so bugs might appear, and it's still work in progress. Yes, starting up again, and we'll go back to hosting game, and you should see it. Wait, there we go. Yes,
That's
I'll
fine.
let you take over. I'm just gonna switch these back there.
I think we have.
Where's the mouse?
Where's the cursor?
It's a good question. Oh, it's over here. Alright, let's then move this one here and then there.
There, we should be fine.
AI raided your PC. Yeah, they use the raid feature against us.
Probably.
Instant construction command was left on, I think, causing the crash.
That's
That-
probably it, yeah.
Actually, might be it. That's a good point. Thank you for pointing that out.
That was a bit silly of us.
Yeah. Also, I'm glad fun commentator with the background art is so fire. We're gonna have an art dev there in about 2 weeks now. It'll be a little before the release. That'll be fun as well. See what you think about all the new 3D and 2D art we're adding to the game.
Do we have this
And all the achievements.
Let's not forget IC this time.
Yes. Can raids and special forces interact? Well, that would be...
I mean, I'm not sure what the question was.
I mean, like, can raids and special forces interact?
I mean, you can use... The better your paratroopers are, the better the chances will be.
Yeah,
I don't know if that answers the question, but...
Yeah, like, yes, you can do paratrooper raids if your paratroopers are better, then yes. Are the marine raids? I believe no, right? No marine raids. It's just air, paratrooper, and nuclear. Naval innovations are not a raid. You can still do naval innovations as you were able to before. The Mordred Viking did point out there are new ships in the naval special projects. So I guess you can get better shore bombardment with better ships, maybe? And
let's do that, and then do that. We're gonna cheat a bit here.
yes.
And then we can turn that off again. And let's see. So as you can see there, you need command power to actually plan raids. And I think let's just declare war on Germany.
Yeah.
They shot first.
Exactly. It's just revenge for World War One.
And there we go. Target cannot be reached. Oh. Yes, because we have such short range bombers right now. Let's deal with that.
But what if we annexed Sweden?
Or Denmark.
Or Denmark also works, but then there's the border and they'll take it.
Yeah, you're right. Yes.
Yeah, let's take back the motherland. Fatherland. There we go.
Now you can see this thing.
Can we steal projects like we can steal technologies? I just have more special projects question, but
Not per se, no.
no, not really.
So this is actually then a raid to damage the Kiel Canal locks. Could be fun.
Yeah. And what happens if we succeed there?
It will be blocked until they repair it, because
Yeah.
basically, I'll show you.
So
It's fog here, but anyways, there's now a building here, which is a lock.
Yeah.
And if that damaged, you can't.
yeah. So if that one works, you can just pass through the Kiel Canal. If we damage it, you are unable to pass until it's repaired.
Yeah. So now we have the aircraft is in place in the base and it's starting to prepare. And it's going to be some time, but let's just ignore that then.
Yeah. And
Cheat more.
And for questions from the chat, we'll focus on raids in this segment, and next one we'll do focus on Belgium. So please try to keep your questions to that area. Can you raid Suez Canal?
No.
I'm not sure how you're supposed to blow up just sand
Exactly. There were actually a few attempts by the Germans to block it with the ships, but it's impossible basically because it's just sand and water. Yeah,
it's a natural canal, which makes it pretty hard. But I believe with the Panama,
you can do that.
Yeah,
yes.
Panama Canal you can do. Yeah.
Yeah, that should work. So now we have a fully prepared raid here. We have a button here where we can launch it.
Big red button.
There were some questions about this. Basically, you can... Oops. I don't want to do that. You can auto-launch. And if you set it to auto-launch, you can go, I don't want it to auto-launch unless...
It reaches certain percentages. Yeah. So if we put it at almost 0, then it will launch no matter what. If
no matter what, as soon as it's done, yeah.
And if you put it on very high, it has to be above 70%. So if you're planning ahead of time, you want to do special raids, but you want to be very careful, you can do very high.
Exactly. Now I set it to auto-launch, so it actually launched. But anyways, we can follow it. Let's slow down a bit. Because basically what we see here, the raid arrow and this thing has already started, is the progress bar on map.
It's a little airplane going there. And there's an icon. And an explosion.
And an explosion. And so we can see that we've managed to almost totally destroy it. Because it's a one-level building.
Yeah.
And also you can see here the thing I was talking about. They get problems repairing it based on this.
Yeah.
We lost some aircraft. We got some experience. And we got some air experience.
Yeah. But pretty much the reward of doing this is more of the damage you cause than the experience you gain.
So we can see here the locks are a bit on fire. And if we go here...
Yes, we're not unable to pass.
Yes. So that's very short how it works, yeah.
That's a very good question. Will successful raids add to the war score?
No.
I don't think so, no, right?
Not at the moment, no. They don't.
No. And then I think there was a question regarding how AI will use raids. Like, they will use raids as, any other real feature.
Yeah. They will try to do what they think is best. And they will attempt not to launch suicide missions. So if the chances are too bad, they will probably cancel.
Yeah, so you're probably not going to see 1,000 small raids in every single province of your country with 0 chance of success.
They might start preparing 1 or 2, but when they realize they can't get the success level high enough, they'll cancel them. Yeah. So here you can see also we have one of the more custom raids is the Reichstag bombing raid you can do if you have bombers enough, which we don't at the moment, but you can. What else do we want to do?
I think something we want to do is nuke something.
Is nuke something? Yes,
yeah, we should nuke something.
We should do that. Let's then...
And yes,
we have to cheat somewhere to be able to nuke something in 1937, right?
Yeah, we probably do. What I do is does AI also use nukes? Yes, AI will still use nukes. This does not restrict them doing that. Does anti-air have an effect on raids?
Yes.
Yes, they do.
I mean, defensively.
Yeah, like, see, it won't help you to have anti-air, but unless you're defending. If you're defending as a raid, shooting down more airplanes will help.
It will definitely help. Yeah. Now, let's see. We also need some... This...
Can we target every resource?
No.
No.
Not at the moment, no.
No. Which
right now it's just steel. No, it's just steel bomb mines that you can blow up with paratroopers. And oil that you can blow up with aircraft.
Yeah.
So you can do like the Piasti oil field raid that the Allies did. And there has to be a large concentration of resources in that region as well. But otherwise, you can't just target every mine or steel mine or oil field. It has to be a large concentration of them for the map to actually show up.
I have the question. Can we debug UK out of the game? I think it'd be a better timeline. I somehow believe that our British game director might have something to disagree about that.
Yeah.
Also, it might not be super historical to debug them out, but I'm sure you can find a mod. I think I've seen one of those mods before on the workshop, so
Did we turn off instant? Maybe we did.
Maybe. No, we enabled it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. The questions about German states you can see in the previous German stream, but also we'll talk about Germany next week. Probably on the left somewhere. Want me to find it?
There.
Oh, there it is.
Let's see. And then we need a bomb.
You had a question there regarding if the specific characters will be shouted out in the German version. Yeah, so that hasn't changed, even though some of the characters are not available in the German version of the game. Getting updated portraits that you still won't. It's still the same one, right? It's historical German portraits DLC that you cannot get in Germany. That hasn't changed.
Let's.
So Pike carry is a thing, but stats are, they're still in, it's not all done yet. So you will just have to imagine how chunky stats they are.
Strat bombers.
We do need to build some strat bombers.
We have them even at this point. Should have, but anyways.
What will happen if you nuke an airport with planes? Same thing as it does right now, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Except more things, but yes. I mean, and then we need.
I should build them.
Yes. What's the command to build?
What's the speed equipment command again?
Yeah.
Don't I remember?
So we need 70 of them, so otherwise we have to wait 70 days.
I guess we can start the timer. Add latest equipment.
With or without?
With understores here.
So that's easy.
Yeah.
And then a number, right?
Maybe? Oh.
That's fine.
Thank you. Random person. Appreciate it.
So now we should be able to do it. So we press the nuke button. Ooh.
We need 3 bombers.
I mean, we built them, right?
And we need them deployed.
Maybe, yeah. That's probably it.
Disable IC. We should probably disable the IC, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Probably should.
Yeah, basic, large.
There we go. Now we can see.
There we go. Now we can nuke stuff.
What do you want to nuke?
Hamburg.
Hamburg? Yeah.
There we go.
And we do want to do just a common nuclear strike.
Just
because we don't have any
special fun nukes.
Yeah, where do I start from?
Västergötland.
Yeah, let's do that.
Of course, now we're gonna send a nuke on a high-risk mission. 63%.
We have a little bit of a problem.
We don't have any nukes. There we go. Now we have nukes. Yes, you actually have a nuke that you're bringing to that location. And let's see if it works.
So this one is a bit faster to prepare. Time depends on which type of raid it is. So we can wait for it. It's fun.
Yeah. So now you're actually we're sending an airplane. It's preparing. We're loading up.
And we're probably going to get a catastrophic failure now, but let's do it anyways, right?
Exactly.
Or let's not cheat. We could cheat if we wanted
but
to. But
red button is more fun.
Red button is. I just want to show you. There's actually Here you can press the big red button and send everything that's ready at the same time.
Yeah. So you can schedule a lot of nukes and just one big red button.
Yes, that's the whole idea.
And it's on the way.
Critical failure, just because I said so, right?
Critical failure, goddammit.
Let's plan another one then.
I believe. Eventually we'll get it, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise I'm just going to use the fun command.
We can cheat.
It's a better command than cheating.
What?
It's a really fun console command we added in this version of the game.
Oh, that one.
Oh yeah, that one.
That one. We can end on a high if you want to.
We can end on a high, yeah.
Yeah.
We just need to just successfully nuke one time.
But let's... Oops, something happened that changed the chance. Let's pause the game. I think it is... Yeah, we lost air spirit and stuff like that.
Let's try it
But
anyways.
let's do it anyways. This is cheating. Oh, but then we don't see the explosion. That's boring.
Oh wait, we do. There we go.
Yeah, we do.
Amazing.
And then now we can see if we go out of this mode and into the in-map mode. You can also see that it's been
the
nuked.
modifier. It's been nuked. That's debuffed now.
So fighting in Holstein will be harder.
It will
And
indeed.
repairing Holstein will also be harder.
Yeah, the aftermath of a nuclear bomb is not very good. But I think it's actually time to start switching towards Belgium. So I think
I'll give you the honors.
Yeah, I'm gonna enter a fun command. Armageddon. It's the best one. Yeah, scroll out a bit. It's the best one we added in this game. I don't know why we never didn't add it before, but I guess it makes sense now. And now I become the destroyer world.
And you have to unpause.
I have to unpause, right? Oh god, not worth the mouse. Come here. Come here, where's the mouse? Oh, but this mouse is special.
Yeah, it is very special. At least I don't feel as bad now when you do it too.
Oh. There we go. Perfect. The only thing we need is a destroyed world. And thank you for a little raid segment. I'll be back in a little bit with Gareth, the content designer on... That's a lot of bombings. I'll be back in a little bit with Belgium, and I'll see you until that time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
go. Hi.
Except my name is not Thomas.
That's fine.
Fantastic.
That's
stuff.
fine. We'll fix that. Write in your name. There we go. Yeah, perfect. That's in your introduction.
Hang on. No, I just do that again. I come on a Swedish keyboard. I should have made a joke here. There we go.
Oh, of course. Gareth. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm joined by Gareth. You are content designer for Belgium, and also a Viking on the free time.
Yeah, so I'm currently wearing a hat, but it hasn't got the horns. So sorry.
Yeah, I'm thankful for that. I'm so thankful that it doesn't have horns. That's actually the only reason, right? I have a question for you there. How do you say?
How do I say "Gutta Damarum"?
You say "Gutta Demaron,"
Easily.
or as our glorious PMM said, "Gutta Demermoos," which is basically Gutta Demer, yeah, mash.
I'll show Belgium and Burgundy. I think we have people who are a little bit ready to see some stuff.
Yeah,
so.
I think if you just move there and press host and game 2, that should include our names correctly. Awesome.
Whoosh.
And then I'm going to press this thing so I can actually see YouTube chat. Great. There we go.
And I'll go over here so I can actually see the game. Huzzah.
Yes. Huzzah. Great. Let's
Okay,
start
so
it.
Belgium, the most mighty of all mighty nations, of course.
Why?
Because it's cool. No, because they suffered really badly in the First World War, but actually held and fought back. And in the Second World War, they actually achieved far more than most people realize. For example, there's a fantastic story where six, forgive me, I forget the numbers wrong, Chasseurs Ardennais, who held up an entire division of Germans, and after they eventually fell, the Germans were like, but where are the others? And they were like, no, there were just 6 of us. We held you up for 24 hours. So the Belgians actually managed to achieve a great many things in many different places, but ultimately, as we all know, did fall. And hopefully the focus tree here is going to kind of tell the story of that and maybe allow you to change history.
Exactly. Let's dive right in. Into our
mouse.
Yeah, the mouse has been a problem today. There it is. Yeah, we're gonna dive into the fanciest hat in the game.
Indeed, Paul van Zeeland.
Yeah.
And I will try my best to say the names as Dutch as I possibly can. Sorry to the French speakers.
Yeah, remember, the code name of this is obviously Southern Netherlands.
Oh my gosh, Eric was... I almost panicked, Eric, when I was writing the dev diary for Belgium.
Yeah.
And I said, welcome to Southern Netherlands as like the introduction. Yeah, I didn't do that, though. I actually have a great deal of respect for Belgium and their achievements here. And hopefully we can show that. So the starting position is with Paul van Zeeland in 1936. You have a couple of national spirits which aren't looking too good. You've got the economic downturn because of the greater effects of the Great Depression. You have corruption because a certain tall hat-wearing person and his government weren't exactly above board. Scars of the Great War, which has been the name changed, as we indicated in after the dev diary, actually.
You're pretty much just trenches.
Yeah, because Belgium, well, it wasn't just trenches. Half the country was in ruins because of the artillery shelling.
Yeah.
So I don't think the trenches were so much of the problem. It was the fact that everything had just been ruined by shelling for a number of years. Then we have the Chasseurs Ardennais. These are kind of an interesting thing because they take the mountaineers and make them less good in the mountains, but they are instead rather better in the forests. And as we may be able to tell down here, the Ardennes is kind of forested.
Yeah, there's a little bit of forest there. It's almost enough to sneak you by into.
And the Belgians do have a number of ways of increasing their special forces unit cap, so I'm kind of expecting the Chasseurs Ardennais to play a pretty important role in any defense of the country. And then finally we have language barriers because Belgium is a multilingual state, having both French and Dutch officially spoken in different quadrants with the Flemish and the Walloons, and then also certain small areas where they spoke German. Somehow.
Yeah.
Yep. So there we go. Far away.
Yeah, a lot of the same stuff there on YouTube.
Bring back Cockermouth.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Cockerill.
Yeah. Is that what you mean?
I don't think that's what they mean, but I'm going to give you some Cockerill. There you go.
Yeah.
There's Cockerill.
Yeah, that's Cockerell.
So let's talk a little bit about the focus tree, starting with politics, because that is the best place to begin. First thing that basically is going to happen is the corruption scandal will bring about the fall of the government. So government will resign, and then you need to make a decision whether you want to go for the more historical path, which is the government of national unity, or you can go for the Van der Velde minority. Van der Velde did actually get the most votes in the election, but not enough to actually form a government. So basically what happened is our main man, Paul van Zeeland, came back again for a second time and got enough parties together to form a coalition, and that was the government of national unity. Unfortunately, allegations against Van Zeeland, allegations brought by this guy, Leon de Grelle of the Fascist, the Rexist party, indicted Paul van Zeeland himself directly, and it turns out he was horrifically corrupt. So he eventually did resign, forcing the King Leopold III, to step in and make a decision about who should instead lead the country. And historically, he chose Paul Emil Janson. But you do have a choice, basically, to give the nod to de Grelle, saying, you got rid of the corruption, so I guess you're a leader of some description.
Fair enough.
And we will give you the reins as Prime Minister. But let's imagine for a moment that we went with Paul Emil Janson.
And a bit of a historical path.
It is the historical path. So you can go and bring in Plan de Man. Henri de Man was the economic minister, but also Plan de Man, just, it's fun to say. Combined with the Dial Plan, which we'll talk about a little bit later when we talk about defences, you can bring about a bit of an economic recovery. However, it's not enough for the people of Belgium, and Emil Janson eventually falls, bringing in Paul Henri Spaak into power. And he is a absolutely fascinating character that you should definitely look up, because he was Prime Minister of Belgium 3 times, I want to say.
I think so.
He was one of the founding members. Well, he created the Benelux Union. He was a signatory of the European Coal and Steel Union, founding member of the European Union, president of the European Union, and then also later General Secretary of NATO. And also a head honcho of the UN. And he sponsored the Soviet Union's entry to the UN into the Security Council, meaning that America and the Soviets had a platform where they could actually talk to each other on the grand stage when, you know, the stakes were super high during the Cold War. So
in short, he was a pretty cool dude and did a lot.
Pretty cool person. Yeah, he did a lot. So yes, you bring in Spaak. He then falls as well in the Adrian Martens crisis, where he made a First World War collaborator onto the Royal College of Surgeons, and people didn't particularly like that because he was also a fascist. So he eventually had to resign, and this is when Hubert Pirlo comes onto the stage, and then Second World War happens.
Yes.
With all that comes with that.
There's a little part there where what if
yes,
not?
we do have a bit of a split. So this is one of the what if questions I like to ask, and that is, what if Spaak didn't resign at that point? What if Spaak had remained in Belgium as the Prime Minister? Well, you can form the Benelux Union, which basically brings diplomatically the Netherlands and Luxembourg into a faction. And then eventually this is the foundation of the Council of Europe, which will eventually lead to the European Union. And I know that there have been a couple of questions about the European Union and how exactly it works. Well, the Austrians, the Belgians, and I believe the Dutch now share this system where it is a faction. It is not just a grand superstate. Initially, all of the members of this faction are equal members. So they are not puppets. However, you do have decisions that you can use to start turning them into puppets. And then you have decisions, I believe, as the Austrian, I can't remember if the Belgians have this, where you can actually start integrating those puppets. And then you can eventually form the superstate of the European Union, which I think we now call the European Federation.
But now a better question, can you do a red union?
Well, actually you can, because over here, our familiar face, Spaak, actually wins in the snap election of the Constitutional Crisis. More about that in a minute. And he can eventually form the European Community, or you can go with the Van der Velde minority down the communist path and form the European Community that way. So you can either have a pure democratic one, a socialist democratic one, or a communist one.
That's a lot of unions.
That is a lot of unions.
Right. Moving on to maybe...
Let's talk a little bit of alt history. So
yes.
Leon de Grelle, leader of the Rexist party, he can be given the nod by King Leopold III to become the new Prime Minister. And because he is appointed, he is not the kind of character to give up that power. But I still wanted to give the fascists a couple of options, because I know how much of the community loves doing, a little bit of map painting.
They do like mapping, indeed, yeah.
And generally the best path to do that is the fascists. So we have the support the VNV, which is the Vlaamse Nationale Verbond, which was actually a Flemish nationalist group. So yes, they did want to split up Belgium and keep Flemish Flanders maybe uniting with the Netherlands. But I wanted to use them because they did actually have an alliance in 1937 with the Rexists. They did support him during the election, and I think they are more likely for him to actually support. And this leads to the expansionist path. So we have the fascist expansionists and the fascist nationalists.
And one of the most fun parts here, the Burgundy Rising.
Yes, yes, indeed. We do lead to Burgundy Rising. Sorry, TNO fans, this is not a nod to Burgundy and that, although I did consider it. This is not the Ordenstadt. This is Burgundy, as in the medieval Burgundy, which was mostly French because it was formed in French Burgundy, but then also controlled the Low Countries, which eventually, after the War of Austrian Succession, became Austrian, and then eventually led to the independence of Belgium and the Netherlands.
Leading down later into Belgica.
Leading down to Belgica. So the Romans had a large province which consisted basically of like this area, which is Belgica. And you can form Belgica, and it does have probably one of the best flags in the game. I'm not going to spoil that. I'm going to let you guys discover it for yourselves.
It's more fun that way. So
Exactly. But it's an amazing flag. It's so good.
It really is.
And you can core those territories as well. So if you really need manpower and you want to go expansionist and you really want to have an effect on history, nationalist expansionists are probably for you. However, a little bit more close to history and the dreams of the collaborationists we have supporting the Rexists. Initially, my plan here was to actually make this a Belgian puppet and really follow the collaborationist route with the Belgians. But it's a little bit more interesting to be able to do your own thing. So instead, you can join the Axis as a full member. But the goals are basically the same. You are there to help Germany. And you do that by building up Belgium to the absolute maximum degree, particularly with the new Ruhr, which, as you can see, comes with just a couple of factory slots.
Just a few of them.
Just a few.
And it changed the category of state to develop rural region.
Which means you can get even more factories in there. So if you like building tool, the fascist nationalists are for you.
Yeah.
And then we have the shared tree here in the middle, which allows you to do a bunch of things, including tightening de Grelle's grip in the country, because at this point, the fascists are very much in the minority. But it also allows you to peacefully diplo-annex Luxembourg, allows you to turn Leopold III into a field marshal, and will eventually lead to the Belgian Renaissance, which comes with some nice buffs.
Yes, and I think a few questions. One, does Belgium have a flag?
Yes.
Yes. Second, can Belgium form the HRE?
No.
No.
We thought the EU was more than enough, and also it's bigger.
Yeah, it is bigger, yeah. And I think, see here, I believe it's question on this end of the table. There's so many questions everywhere.
Questions
keep
are
them on
awesome.
track. We do like questions.
We do.
Yeah. Oh yeah, what is Burgundy a reference to EU4?
Yes.
I approve, as I also now run EU4 community, so I very much approve of this.
And I was formerly a CA on EU4 as well. It was like my beginning of the Paradox career.
Yeah, so.
Yes, frankly.
Right, shall we go over to Constitutional Crisis?
We shall. So, what then happens? So we've got de Grelle now as the Prime Minister. Hubert Pirlo decides, no, we ain't going to have no fascist on the Prime Ministerial seat here. And he basically forces through a parliamentarian thing, which means that the king was temporarily unfit to rule when he was preparing to sign the ascension of de Grelle to the Prime Minister. He forces a snap election, and then basically democracy reigns and returns. And Pirlo is a bit more hawkish than Spark or Jansson. He recognizes that war is on the horizon, and he is willing to do what it takes to prepare Belgium for that. Neutrality is a lot less interesting to him, and he can get rid of neutrality a bit more easily than the others, and so join either the Allies early, or he can actually turn his attention to the Comintern, because I do think it's important that Belgium, for those of you who like to set up the world yourselves and set countries to their own political paths, that we have a couple of other countries that are able to join the Soviets. And I thought Belgium could be an interesting addition there. It's another flank against the Germans. They are able to defend themselves, especially if they do take this path.
Yeah.
And they could be a fun one, like you're trying to hold out until the Soviets arrive.
And as proper Belgians, they want to outdo the Maginot.
They absolutely want to outdo the Maginot. And if you haven't already checked out the Dev Diary, there is a much better introduction to this. But there are basically 3 stages of Belgian defenses. You have the Belgian Maginot, which it's all right, it's forts. Then you have better than Maginot, which is forts on top of forts with some forts on top of that, and also naval guns. And then you have the mobile Maginot.
Yes.
You'll have to check that one out for yourselves, though.
Yeah, really, you should read the Belgium Dead Diaries. You'd read. I got a question regarding if you can have a liberal victory, join the Allies, and support a European project.
No. That way you would have to join the Allies. You can't do because it's mutually exclusive. Yeah, you have to have done Socialist Victory to go this way. Because the Socialist Victory is Spark. Spark versus PLO. Spark is the European creator.
Might actually be, I don't know, can we actually make it? Because I think the question came because it looks like you're able to do it like this.
No, I realize it's because both need to go to raise the red flag.
Yeah.
This is how you actually turn communist.
Yeah.
Because it was very unlikely that Belgium itself would turn communist, but for game mechanic reasons, we kind of needed to make it that they could.
Yeah.
So if you want to be democratic, but joining Comintern, you can. You're just less likely to do it unless you have already done raise the red flag, which will also help you flip to communist.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the defenses, seeing as we were already talking about those with the constitutional crisis. So one of the most important policies that the Belgians had was perpetual neutrality. This was the idea that we are neutral, we're going to arm ourselves, we're going to make ourselves unconquerable, but we're also not going to join anyone else, because there was a large portion of the Belgian population that saw the entry of Belgium into the First World War as part of France and Britain's manipulations. They didn't want to join somebody else's war and be forced to become the battlefield because they know that they are the buffer state between Germany and France. They were like, we're not going to fight. We're going to be completely neutral. We're going to arm ourselves so that so that others don't want to attack us, but leave us out of this, please. Didn't exactly work.
No, not really.
But doing this will actually give you a number of good buffs. So perpetual neutrality will increase your construction speed. Independent, neutral, and loyal will increase your construction speed even further. So you kind of want to get these early on if you want your industry to do much. This will also lead you down to the defense bill, which opens up your military industrial complex and also some manpower, and also the Royal Military Academy, which has a bunch of very helpful military buffs, especially if you're not playing purely defensive. A couple of highlights here. We have the Resistant Bites, which will give you some doctrines. You have the Belgian Special Forces, which allows you to get a different Special Forces doctrine. You start out with Mountaineers. You can then also get Marines and Paratroopers if you want. Then Interpreters, which just buffs them even further.
Yeah.
Then you also have some stuff like the Fonderie Royale de Canon Liège, which will buff up your tank MIOs and your artillery MIOs, and then also some nuclear stuff.
Yeah, but also, let's talk a bit more about the dial plan.
Yes, so dial plan's an interesting one, because even though Belgium had publicly called for neutrality, they knew in reality that if somebody did attack them, Britain and France would not just let them lie. They would come to their defense, and the Belgian generals were in active talks with the High Command in France and Britain about how do we defend ourselves if the worst should come to pass. And that was what was known as the deal plan. The idea was basically the Belgians would fight a strategic withdrawal, a defensive withdrawal, holding up the German armies as long as possible for the other forces to arrive behind the Dial River, and that is where they would then fight a stand against the Germans, kind of like they did in the First World War. Gameplay mechanics-wise, the Allies will generally not send troops to Benelux unless you do the dial plan. This was because we noticed the AI was constantly getting encircled there and destroyed, so France would die much, much sooner. But with the dial plan, we actually changed that AI strategy, so they're more likely to come to your assistance.
Yeah, and then with holding out as long as possible, Belgium does have some more defensive stuff to the left.
They do. They have quite a few defensives. So we have the defensive neutrality thing here, which will give you some 4 construction speed and max entrenchment. On the left side, the Belgian gates, the iron wall, that basically doubles down on this. So you can really get some high entrenchment, or you can just, forts.
Forts.
And small forts.
Some more forts,
More
yeah.
forts.
More forts.
More forts.
And
then maximum fort level. So I believe that previously we have talked about the fact that terrain now moderates how many forts you can have in a province. Well, Belgium is one of the very, 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 very few nations in the world that has their own focus modifier where that increases that limit.
yeah.
So Belgian fortifications really can become quite potent. Plus they can then flood the tank barriers where they basically had those Czech tank hedgehogs and then flooded them so the tanks couldn't see where they were. They were quite effective. So they will slow down your opponents. Then you can also blow one of the dams. You have a dam over here and basically you inundate the country much like the Dutch can do.
Yes, but of course, you can't trust the French, so there's something a little bit against that as well.
There is. This is here partially in case you don't trust the French to hold, or partially because you don't trust the French because you're a fascist or a communist.
Yeah.
So this can be used either way.
And I think one question I think we've seen before in forums, but also like just general questions, what happens if you die? Like, historically Belgium didn't really hold.
Yeah, so historically Belgium held out for 18 days, and at that point King Leopold III surrendered. Leopold III was the commander-in-chief of the Belgian armed forces, and without any word to the Belgian government, the Belgian authorities, Belgian officials, or anyone really, he surrendered. And with that, 600,000 Belgians put down arms on that day, giving up the Belgian front entirely. So we wanted to model that. So we do have the king surrenders. This is if you lose enough of Belgium, which is if you lose any full state, Belgium is now divided into 4 states, you lose. Or the king surrenders, rather. You don't lose immediately, you do have choices. Or if you lose Liège, Antwerpen, or Brussels, any of those 3, then he will also surrender. So that's what you've got to try to hold out. If the king surrenders, you have a choice. You can either accept this, and you will then immediately open up the king surrenders branch, or you can try to fight on. This will come with a hefty penalty to war support and surrender limit. You are going to be pretty fragile, but you can continue fighting if you want. Or you can try to get rid of the king entirely, which is what the fascists can do. If he surrenders, they can just straight up arrest him. Or you can go down the constitutional crisis path, which will lead to his... what's the word? Not abolishing, not abstaining. Begin with an A. This is when he leaves the throne voluntarily. Abdicates, that's the word.
Yeah, abdicates, right.
He will abdicate, and in that case, he won't surrender because he's not there to do it. If he should, however, surrender, you then have 2 choices. You can choose to be to call him unfit to reign and basically say he's a bit of a traitor and a collaborator. This happened historically. And then you will go into government in exile, generally fighting on in London, and then you get a couple of buffs to that in exile system. Fun fact, V for Victory, that famous sign that Churchill had, actually Belgian.
Oh, really?
It actually stands for Victoire and Vrijheid. Victoire being French and Vrijheid being Dutch, both of them meaning victory, or I think Vrijheid's actually freedom. But yeah, the Belgians started doing that. The French noticed the Belgians doing this, thought that's a cool symbol, we'll do it too. Then Churchill noticed the French doing it, thought that's a cool symbol, I'm going to do that too. And that's how it emerged.
Yes. He did mess it up a little bit in the start, but we don't talk about that.
Didn't see that.
Yeah. It does actually end the Free Belgian Force is a pretty fun one at the bottom.
Yeah, so if you decide not to elect him as unfit to reign, instead go down the prisoner king route, this was actually a viable alternative because at the time the king sympathies hadn't exactly come through because he got married and then went on a honeymoon in a Nazi palace. One of the German Nazis was apparently a friend. He sent personal letters to Hitler. He had a bit of a crisis after the war where he was reinstated as king and then he was actually forced to abdicate as a collaborator. But if you look past all of that and decide actually the king is the legitimate force in Belgium, his father, King Albert, the warrior king, what if we try to put some of those traits to his son, you can then elect him to be the prisoner king and then start to solidify resistance around him. And this is basically the monarchist path.
Yeah.
And this will all lead, there is also the shared bit in the middle here, which basically just gives you stuff with the Free Belgian Forces. And from there, you can begin to try to get Belgium back again and get the liberation.
I think I've seen this question a few times now, because I think you had clicked on it. Ethiopian Malmedy a province?
It is a province, yes. Yeah. We elected not to make it a state because, quite frankly, we didn't think it was really big enough. There are a lot of mechanics that surround having states, and we wanted to leave that for the places like Luxembourg. And Urban Malmedy itself is actually smaller than an entire province would be. So it's named.
Yeah, it's there. It exists.
We just decided not to make it a state.
Yeah. Now, let's start, we should start looking around the south. So, is there anything you really want to show before we end?
I mean, I've shown you the focus tree. I'm just going to go over, skip through that bit so that people can't see that. Yep, there's some ship stuff here and some plane stuff and helicopters.
Ooh.
We've got the MIOs, which we can quickly flick through. We have a couple of them here. If you align yourselves with the Germans, you get German MIOs. If you align yourself with the Soviets, you get Soviet MIOs, including heavy tanks.
Ooh.
Heavy tanks defending Belgium. Seems
That's
like
pretty fun, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You have the escort fleet because you do have holdings in Congo, and it'd be kind of nice to, keep your supply routes over there open. You have the Renard Construction Aeronautique, which is a high agility fighter designer, so you can try to combat in the air. And then you also have a couple of these. We're still waiting for the icon for the helicopter MIO. But Belgium is one of 3 nations that gets helicopters: Germany, Belgium, and the USA.
Yeah.
Sorry, it gets the helicopter MIOs. Anyone can get the helicopter special project.
I do see a question regarding if you can get the king without capitulation. No.
But bear in mind, the king is always there. He is always in power. There was really no chance of the monarchy ever falling. And in fact, if the king abdicates, his brother, Charles, Count of Flanders, steps in as the new regent. So the monarchy is never really gone. Even under the communist path, they don't get rid of him. Because there was actually a referendum done in which the communists voted overwhelmingly to keep the monarchy.
Not the most common thing.
No, not at all. Is there anything else I want to show off? How about some cool unit models? Because we've got the Chasseurs Ardennais here with their fantastic floppy green hats. Let's see if I can get a closer view. There you go. We have the tank destroyer unit. That's cavalry. Who has the tank destroyer? Can I see that through here? No. Well, there's some cool tank destroyer units that you can also get.
Bicycles, the best type of units.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, there are actually a whole bunch of new artworks and things for the Belgians. For example, the artillery's got icons. Aircraft have got all of their stuff done. I'm just going to flick through this really quickly because we're pressed for time. That's those things. Is there anything else you guys want to see? How many tank companies factories does Belgium have? Tank companies is in MIOs, the 4 we showed earlier.
Yeah.
Then factories, they start with 6 military and 11 civilian. But bear in mind, their economy is in absolute tatters. You are going to need to do some work down the economy branch to try to get some of that in working order. And their economy is about building Belgium up. It's about unlocking some more real resources. In fact, that is something that's interesting to see. Belgium's steel has actually been increased from the start because they were a major steel producer in this era. And actually, Luxembourg was one of the biggest producers of iron ore, selling a huge amount to France and Germany. And in fact, if my stats are correct, I hope they are, they actually produce more iron ore than Germany at this point.
That's quite impressive.
Luxembourg.
That is impressive right there. And I think to end it off, because a few people were asking regarding the color of Congo on the map. Mm-hmm. So maybe I'll zoom out.
Yeah, absolutely. We can show you the color of Congo, because if you want to see more of Congo, you're going to have to join us for the Dev Diary on Monday and the stream on Friday.
Yes.
Fantastic. And we are going to have a lot to show you for Congo, because one of my core pillars of building Belgium here was they have to be fun after they capitulate. The branch that you've seen, the King surrenders part of it, that is just a part of the plan here. There is more. And it might be something to do with this.
Yeah, we might see. But in that case, I believe that's done from our end. And thank you guys for joining us today here on a little Friday stream. And thank you, Gary, for joining with your amazing helmet, with a great Belgium helmet.
Yeah, I don't know if you can actually see it, but there's actually like a little lion crest on the front. That's what Belgian helmets had at the time. There you go, in the light, kind of see it.
Yes, but in that case, we're gonna close this off, and we wish you all have a lovely weekend, and please do read the Congo Dev Diary Monday.
Yes.
It's gonna be amazing.
Heck yeah.
In that case,
thanks everyone. See you next time.
Bye-bye.